And we're back with lesson 7-2, simplifying expressions. We learned this in 7th grade year. We got a little introduction to it, but now it's going to start taking off. We have to know how to do it because this is an important thing that happens in Algebra 1. And I wouldn't tell you that if it wasn't true. So we're probably going to do quite a bit of practicing on this in the next few days because I know it's just that important. So first thing I have for you is some vocabulary words. Why don't you go ahead and pause and write down the vocabulary words. Leave a little bit of space in between each one because I'm going to explain to you what each of these things mean. All right, so the first thing I think I need to talk about is what an algebraic expression is, because that's one of the parts of the definition term up here. So algebraic expression is like a math sentence. The math sentence that involves numbers, letters, and operations. So anytime you have a big sentence, kind of like what I have here, this is considered an algebraic expression. It's basically just a math sentence. Now, a term is part of that math sentence. So if I would pull this math sentence apart, I would have the term. So for example, if you need to know what the terms are, I usually have students circle them because it's easier to see, and you also include the sign in front. If we don't include the sign in front, our expression would just look like this if we would pull it apart, and that's nothing. So we have to include the sign in front as well. So the terms for this expression would be 2x, 8x, and 3. Those would be the terms. The coefficient is the number part of a term that has a variable. So if I look up here, I have two variables. So 2 would be a coefficient, and there's also another coefficient. If I think back to the other day, my rule is if I have a lonely variable, I'm going to add a 1. So technically there's two coefficients here, 2 and 1. Now a lot of times on homework, if I say list the coefficient, kids will write 2x and they'll write 1x. X is not included in the coefficient. The coefficient is just the number. So make sure you write that down. It's just the number part with the variable. Now a constant is anything else that doesn't have a variable. So like up here, 8 would be a constant, 3 would be a constant. So anything that's by itself with no variable. All right, so I'm going to go and I'm going to add a page here. So I'm going to add, because this is something you're going to have to do in your homework. Let's say I have 2x plus 9 minus 5x minus 2. Okay, and your homework's going to say list the terms, then list the coefficients, and the constants. Now remember, you have to include the sign in front also. So what I would probably do is I'd go through here already and I'd circle things just like this. Okay, and I'd say my terms are 2x, comma, 9, comma, minus 5x, comma, minus 2. Those are considered my terms. If I would take it apart, it's kind of like a puzzle. If I take it apart, those would be my pieces. The coefficients are the number part with the variable. So my coefficients would be 2 and minus 5. My constants would be 9 and minus 2. Now the next thing they're going to add in are the like terms, and that's my next slide. Like terms are terms that have the same variable and exponent. They are also constants, and that's something else we can write in here. They're also constants, and basically things that can be combined. Things that can be put together to simplify the expression. Okay? And that's what I have here is I have simplifying is combining those terms. Now if I would go back, if you need this, pause it because I'm going to go back to my last slide. If I look up here, what are things that I can combine up here? So I'm going to add coefficient, or I'm going to add like terms. Okay, two things that I could combine would be 2x and minus 5x. Those are things I could combine to make it a little smaller. The other things I can always combine my constants. So those would be considered my like terms, things I can combine. Now, sometimes you might not have things you can combine. You might not have like terms, or maybe you don't have another constant to combine. Maybe, so the situation can vary from problem to problem. Okay, my other reminder, always put a 1 in front of that lonely variable. That goes for all the time. Now let's try again. I want you to try. I want you to identify the terms, the like terms, the coefficients, and the constants. I'm going to circle, put a 1 with that, circle. So my terms would be 6x minus 2y, 1x minus 5. My like terms, okay, so what are things I could combine up here? My only things that could be combined would be my 6x and my 1x. I don't have anything with a y, and I don't have any other constant, so those are my only like terms. Coefficients are the numbers with the variable, just the numbers. 6 would be 1, minus 2 would be 1, 1 would be 1, and my only constant would be minus 5. So don't forget to include that sign in front, because if we didn't include it and we had to take the pieces apart, the only things that would be left over would be these signs right here, and we can't have that. They have to go along with something. All right, so the next part is starting to simplify. What can we put together? How can we put together? How does this look? So I have 7a plus 4a. Now, what does this look like? Now, before we just put them together, let's just write what this is. This is 7 times a, meaning that there's 7 a's. 5, 6, 7. This is what 7a is right here. Okay, now I'm going to add 4 more a's. So how many a's do I have total? So if I combine these, I have 11 a's. This is what it would look like simplified. So I have 8n plus 4 plus 4n. So I'm going to find my like terms. Well, I can see I have like terms here and here. So this says 8n plus 4n. Okay, that's 12n. Now I can't forget about my constant. My constant, there's nothing I can combine it to. So that also is included in my answer. Now simplifying, you simplify as far as you can go before you can solve. Okay, so here's a few more that talk about distributive property, which we talked about yesterday. So if you're going to simplify, the first thing you need to do is do the distributive property. First thing. So 6 times 1y, 6 times 8, so this would be 6y plus 48 minus 5y. Then you simplify. So what are my like terms in there? I think my y, so 6y minus 5y, 6y minus 5y is 1y. I don't have anything I can add 48 to or subtract it from. This would be my answer. So over here, I'm going to do the same thing. 7 times 1x would be 7x minus 14 plus 3x. Okay, next thing I need to do is I need to figure out what I can simplify and put together. So I have 7x plus 3x would be, let's see, 7, 8, 10x minus 14. And that would be your answer. All right, let's try a few more. Actually, I'm not going to story problems yet. I'm just going to do some more. It's x. Okay, so I have 6x minus 5 plus 7x plus 9. I'm going to combine these two things first. 13x. Now here's the tricky part, is this. I have negative 5 plus 9. So what's negative 5 plus 9 would be a positive 4. If it's a positive 4, it would be plus 4. Okay, I'm going to give you a few more to try by yourself. Okay, and we'll do this one. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to combine, so that says negative 3x minus 9x. So negative 3x minus 9x would be a keep change situation. It's going to be a negative 12x. Then I have 7 plus 2, which would be a positive 9. Answer for this one. Okay, over here, I have to do some distributing. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is put together my x's. This is 6x plus 3x, that'd be 9x. And then I have negative 3 minus 5, which is another keep change thing. Which would be negative 8, and this would be my answer here. So I have a few story problems coming up, but I think that's something we can talk about together in class. We're going to do a lot more practice with this. So if you have any questions for me or you're confused about something, make sure you get it marked in your notebook so we can talk about it in class. And I appreciate you watching my video and taking good notes. So I will see you next class period.